My name is Paddy McGuinness. I'm from County Monaghan in the north of Ireland, but I've been living in Mayo for the last 60 odd years, and I retired from my work 12 years ago and started making walking sticks here at my cottage in Derryhick on the shores of Derryhick Lake on the west of Ireland, and I enjoy making the sticks and the craft of stick making very much. Well, I grew up in an environment where my father, my grandfather, my great-grandfather were all gamekeepers. So I lived in a lifestyle where we were out in the country all the time, fishing and shooting. And as a young boy, I helped out at the shoots with beating the bushes with sticks. So I was quite accustomed to country life, country living, and stick making was very much part of that lifestyle. The process in stick making is long and varied. It takes quite a while. It might seem very simple. But to start with, one has to find the source, the raw material, find the suitable shank that has the makings of a nice handle. All my sticks are one-piece sticks, so I don't add a handle. I have to find one that has a piece that can be shaped into a handle. And I have learned that there are certain timbers suitable, woods suitable for stick making and others not. And also, over a period of time, I've developed an eye as to where I would find suitable shanks. So from November until February is the best time to cut them, because the sap is down at that stage, and in the drying out process they're less likely to split. So that's the sourcing of them, and then I bring them home and I put them in a seasoning shed, and they stay there for a minimum of a year to season and dry. In the case of some hardwoods, like blackthorn especially, that may take up to 4 or 5 years. Then I take them out and I straighten them a little bit. I don't straighten them like billiard cues because they won't be needed for that kind of purpose. And I think they have more character if there's a little bit of a flower imperfection or bend or twist. I leave them, as long as they're nicely balanced, that's the important aspect of it. We've taken it out of the steamer, been in there for 20-25 minutes. You overbend it slightly so that it allows for it to kick back. You keep checking as you go along, careful not to bend it too much or it will break, but just enough. And when you're satisfied that it's properly straight, then I bring them to a vise, because sometimes they're inclined to revert back to their original shape as they cool off. It should be safe to stay the shape that it's in when we finish it. You can see I have a whole series of these vises, so I can do up to 10 or 12 sticks at a time. But that's just to show you one. Then I have to decide as to whether or not I take the bark off. With some timbers, it's best if you take the bark off. With others, it's best if you leave it on. Well, this is ash, and it's the one that invariably has to be shaved, because the outer bark is quite uninteresting and dull. But if you get close to it, you can see underneath the outer bark there is an inner bark just above the core of the timber itself, and it has a lovely grained effect running through it. You can see the underbark emerging there, and you can visualize the various colours we're going to get when we put our varnish and oil on it, or varnish or oil. I use a small little draw knife. Some of the stick makers use a much bigger version of it, but I feel that I can get a better feel for what I'm doing with the smaller one. I can be more precise with taking off the bark. Sometimes I think about, you go back into your past to think about when I was using sticks for beating the woods. My mind wanders all over the place, but it is a very relaxing, enjoyable exercise from start to finish. I really love it. And then I move on to shaping the handle, and then it's the tedious task of sanding and finishing, sanding and finishing. And that's sometimes looks like an endless process, but eventually I end up with what I think, very nice walking stick. I make quite a few of them and I trade them all over the world. I think the biggest segment of my market would be Irish American, people who are just first generation in America, or people whose grandfathers or grandmothers came from Ireland and they would like a piece of the old sod. And the walking stick fits very much into that bracket. And particularly, again, the blackthorn. There's something about the blackthorn that the Americans love. So I would estimate that 80% of my sticks go to America, and 80% of that 80% are blackthorn. This is it in its raw state, just one. It requires a lot of attention, very careful sanding, but the end result is a just reward for the work that goes into making a blackthorn. Blackthorn makes a wonderful, beautiful stick. So after a lot of care and attention, a lot of seasoning and very careful sanding, you end up with something like this. That's blackthorn. My selling slogan really describes my sticks, which is designed by nature and finished by hand. I'm adding nothing to them other than just finishing them and making them balanced and presentable. And I think they become people's friends for life, or companion. I see walking sticks, that's my dream, that a walking stick will be seen as an accessory. When you go walking, like you put on a cap or a pair of boots or whatever, you bring your walking stick, because it has more uses than just supporting you if you're feeble. I think people use walking sticks as a companion, as protection. A dog will never challenge you if you have a stick in your hand, nor will a human, hopefully. So, yeah, I would love to see a walking stick becoming an accessory when you go for your walk. It's been a challenge all the way through. I'm 12 years at it. I'm still learning, but in the beginning there was a lot to learn. And the challenge of proving that I could do it and that I could market them and developing a website and selling them, the whole thing was a challenge, and I enjoy it. And it's outdoor life, which I was brought up at, and I love it out here. Well, yes, doubts in the beginning. Would anyone want them? Would anyone buy them? I had those doubts, but it wasn't terribly important to me because I wasn't dependent on it for a living. And I improved as I went along, and I was encouraged by people's reaction to the sticks. I was pleasantly surprised at how people really loved them. I'm at an advanced age now, and it's the best thing I've done in my life so far, taking up stick making. It has been a wonderful 12 years. I've enjoyed it so much. As long as I remain healthy, I intend continuing at the stick making. I've made very many friends all over the world through my stick making. I get regular correspondence from people who actually collect some of my sticks now. I have some customers who would have upwards of 20 Derryhick sticks, yeah, in various wood finishes, part of collections. For a man who worked all my life as more or less as an office person, it's great to see that I can do some things with my hands that other people like and appreciate. And it gives me a few bob to go to the pub for a pint at night time, and I'm enjoying it.